What's the difference between a will, a last will and testament, and a trust? Some people might say irrevocable trust, a revocable trust, revocable trust, family trust, bunch of different names, but there's two different things that I'm talking about in this video. One is a will and one is a trust. Most people are familiar with a will, and most of our clients originally come to us and they say, hey, listen, I just need to do a will or a, quote unquote, simple will. But when we really get down to it, what they actually want to happen cannot be done in a will, can only be done in a trust. So I'm just going to talk about, some of the main differences between the two. A will, both documents, a will and a trust, both of them are going to say what happens to your stuff after you pass away. So it's going to say who gets my things, who gets my house, who gets my car, who gets, all of these things. And that's going to happen in both the will and in the trust. The difference is that if done properly, having a trust is going to avoid your family members, your beneficiaries, your heirs from having to go through the probate process. And I talk about probate in a bunch of other videos, but probate, real quickly, is just going to court after a person has died, and then waiting, 7, 8, 9, 10 months or longer. And at the end of the process, the judge is going to say who gets what of your stuff. If all you have is a will, so if all you've done, you did a do-it-yourself will, or maybe even had an attorney do your will, but if all you have is a will, chances are your family is going to have to go through probate, going to have to hire a probate attorney, go to court, and have the judge review everything. This is public record, this costs a lot of money, and takes a lot of time, and it leaves a lot of opportunity for there to be more fighting amongst the beneficiaries, amongst the kids, or something like that. So most people, when we talk about it, they do want to avoid the probate process. And so I tell them, hey, we can avoid it, but we can't do it only using a will, which is when we need to do a trust. So a trust allows us, there's certain things that we can do that will allow us to avoid probate. The other thing is we can be a lot more specific in a trust a lot of the times. We can say, most commonly with minor children, maybe you want to set up a trust for the children so that money doesn't go outright to them when they turn 18. Even if it's not, a substantial amount of money, you might not want them, an 18-year-old, getting any lump sum of money. So we might do a trust to set up some sort of trust for the kids when they turn 18. And same thing along with the kids, you might want to put into the trust who you want to be legal guardians of the minor children if something were to happen to the parents, the parents, before they turn 18. So a trust allows for a lot more flexibility. There's a lot more protection that you can set up. So if you're concerned about who gets what of your stuff, how those assets are distributed, if probate is going to be avoided, then most likely you're going to want to go with a trust instead of just a will. But again, have that conversation with your attorney when you're doing it. A will might be okay in certain instances where all you have is a will, but know that there are two options, and so you want to make sure you're very clear about what your goals are, and that's kind of going to determine whether you go the will or the trust route.